Hey guys, mahal everyone, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here. Welcome to my YouTube channel with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be covering the overview for the next Lost Chapters coming soon to Global, featuring the return of the legendary guardian from Final Fantasy X, Auron. Before I start this video, I just do want to apologize for the lack of streams on Twitch because I actually was sick for the last few days. It started off with a cold and then went on to laryngitis. Thank God I have my voice back, but I've been just trying to get a lot of rest. I at least wanted to give you guys a video, and hopefully I'll be back to streaming soon. Thank you guys for your patience and your support. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Auron and the Lost Chapters that's going to be coming out featuring him for the global version of the game. So, the Lost Chapters comes, Auron's going to be getting his level 60 awakening. This is going to be giving him better stats and upgraded abilities. We will have a chance now to earn Dark High Shards from his Lost Chapters, as well as other rewards such as gems and tickets and all that good stuff. And then Cyan and Vincent will be joining him again as Synergy to fight against the Iron Worm. And players that didn't get a chance to get Auron when he first came out will now have a permanent chance to get him, as Lost Chapters are a permanent content in Dissidia Opera Omnia. Now let's take a look at Auron's Awakening and what it exactly gives him. So we're going to start off first with actually the level 54 and 58 buffs or passives that he gets, and I'm changing it up a little bit and you guys will see. So his 54 passive is going to be called Debuff Boost. This is going to be a 60% max brave increase when the enemy is debuffed. His 58 passive is going to be called Debuff Attack and Speed Up, which is going to be giving him a 20% attack and speed increase when the enemy is debuffed. So this is essentially the passives that are your auras. They generally will have like some sort of a condition. For example, for Auron, we need the enemy to be debuffed, and usually it increases a particular statistic that makes them a little bit more offensive or a little bit better. So for Auron, we get an increase to his max brave, attack, and speed, which is good because he is a damage dealer. Now we're going to take a look at its abilities. So the way I did this is we're going to take a look at the abilities before his awakening, just as a little bit of a refresher. That way you guys actually see the difference in the numbers when these abilities get their awakening. So his Banishing Blade, which is his ability 1, and this is considering that you have its 15 CP, gives us the following. It's a one-hit melee brave plus HP attack. It has a brave damage potency of 140%. It has a 100% chance to inflict 60% initial brave down debuff for 3 turns on the target. It also inflicts a 30% max brave down for 3 turns. So that's prior to his awakening with 15 CP. Now, after the awakening, Banishing Blade is now a 4-hit melee brave plus HP attack. It has a 260% brave damage potency, so a 120% increase right there. It also has a +5 skill usage, which is probably the best thing that this ability got with this awakening, because one of the things that really annoyed me honestly about using Auron is that he has such low ability usage, especially with Banishing Blade. So now his Banishing Blade has +5, which is amazing. We can use this ability a whole lot more often. It also now grants him a 20% attack up to himself for 6 turns, so further increasing his damage. And it changes his Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus, and Brave Attack Plus is a one-hit melee brave attack with a 150% brave damage potency. Now, second ability before his awakening, considering that you have his 35 CP, it's going to be his ability Purgatory. So currently it is a 2-hit melee brave attack. It has a 160% brave damage potency. It has a 60% chance to inflict melee imperil for 2 turns, which is what Auron is all about. This is a debuff that is kind of rare, and he's one of the characters that has it, melee imperil. So it allows the enemies to be more vulnerable to melee attacks. It also grants him a medium speed up to himself for 4 turns. And after awakening, Purgatory is now going to be still a 2-hit melee brave attack, but the first hit is single target, and then that second hit is actually AoE. So now he targets AoE with that second hit. It also now has a 210% brave damage potency, so it's a 50% increase from what it was before. It also gets an additional skill usage. While not as much as his previous ability, it's still an additional skill usage. And then now he has a 100% chance to inflict that melee imperil for 3 turns, which is pretty amazing. It also grants him a 40% max brave up to himself for 8 turns. And it also triggers a single target HP attack when his brave is at 80% or greater of his max brave. So now he has a chance to inflict HP damage to a single target as long as you fulfill that condition. So quite an upgrade there on Purgatory. So is Auron going to be for fun, or is he going to be for glory? So his Awakening, what did it grant him? A significant amount of ability usage, especially with Banishing Blade, more damage, new buffs, and a guaranteed chance to inflict his unique debuff. And the reason why I say it's unique, because melee Imperial, it's not very common. You don't see it often with the current cast in Opera Omnia. He pairs well with high damage melee damage dealers such as Squall, Thancred, Tidus, Lightning. Those are some examples, because he further increases their melee type damage because they are melee damage dealers. He's definitely going to need his EX to be at his best, because his EX actually gives him another option to take advantage of his melee Imperial. And when we take a look at his EX weapon in the banner, when I cover that, you'll see why I recommend that you do pull on the EX weapon if you decide to use Auron as one of your main guys. And overall, while his Awakening is not crazy game breaking, I feel like he's actually quite strong considering where the global game is at and the pace that it's moving, and he could actually be a character potentially for glory. And if you take a look at when AURON'S Lost Chapters and Awakening came out in JP and you compare it to what we have, you can see what I mean by him being a pretty good option as a team member, while not as broken as like Kate Sith, Selphie, or Beatrix, because they're like the top 3 right now. I feel like Auron can actually shine with the right setup, and he could potentially be for glory. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the other character, the Synergy character, who's going to be getting his Awakening, which is something that Global is doing that JP didn't do. So CYAN is definitely going to be getting his Awakening in his Lost Chapters. So same deal. We're going to take a look at his 54 and 58 passives first. So he gets Concentrate Boost, which is an 80% max Brave increase as long as he's under the Concentrate unique buff. That is a tremendous amount of max Brave just by having that unique buff, which is pretty cool. He also is going to be getting his 58 passive, which is Concentrate Attack, a 40% attack increase when under Concentrate unique buff. So very good that he gets this to increase his damage capabilities. Now let's take a look at his abilities again before Awakening and after Awakening. So remember, the way CYAN'S abilities works is first he has like a stance that he has to do, and then that changes the ability into an actual damage dealing ability. So Concentrate Fang before Awakening with 15 CP. It heals his own Brave by 100% of his initial Brave. It also grants him a 30% attack up for 8 turns with concentration and a speed up for 8 turns. It has a low action delay. And then before Awakening, his Bushido Fang, which is right after you use Concentrate Fang with the 15 CP. This is a one-hit melee Brave attack that ignores defense, which is pretty cool. So then no matter how high the enemy's defense is, he just ignores that amount. It has a 210% Brave damage potency, which is pretty good considering that this is the pre-Awakening damage percentage. And then after Awakening, the Concentrate Fang portion of the ability is now going to be granting him a large speed up for 8 turns, which is good because CYAN'S kind of slow, and it further lowers the action delay. And then after Awakening, Bushido Fang is going to be a 2-hit melee Brave attack that ignores defense versus a 1-hit. And the Brave damage potency is increased to overall 300%. So that's a 90% Brave damage increase. So then we're going to take a look at his second ability now. So the first one being Concentrate Dragon, considering that you have the 35 CP prior to his Awakening. This heals his own Brave by 100% of initial Brave. It also grants him 30% attack up for 8 turns, and this time grants him 20% max Brave up for 8 turns. It does have a low action delay. And then before Awakening, his Bushido Dragon, which is the follow-up, is a 1-hit melee Brave plus HP attack that ignores defense. It has a 130% Brave damage potency. It also heals his HP by 50% of the HP damage that he deals, and it caps out at 15% of his own max HP. So he has the ability to be able to sustain himself and keep himself alive, which is pretty cool. Great utility right there for him. So after Awakening, Concentrate Dragon now grants him a 60% max Brave up for 8 turns, and it also further lowers the action delay. And after Awakening, his Bushido Dragon is now going to be a 2-hit melee Brave plus HP attack that ignores defense with a 220% Brave damage potency, which is a 90% increase overall. So is CYAN gonna be for fun or for glory? So his Awakening slightly improved his abilities with more hits, stronger buffs, and an even lower action delay, and he actually also has some pretty good auras with his 54 and 58 passives to further improve his damage output. And his ability to ignore defense is, I feel like, is his greatest asset, because this way he has nothing holding him back to be able to dish out a full amount of damage. I mean, the only thing that would really hold him back is, since he's melee, if the enemy resists melee attacks, that's the only real thing that could hold him back. But other than that, if you're up against a boss that likes to increase its defense, Cyan bypasses that with the defense ignore. And then his melee attacks will definitely benefit from AURON'S melee imperil, which is cool because they're synergy characters, and a support unit that provides brave, such as Katesith, will speed up his damage capabilities. And while his awakening did make him better, I feel like he still falls short, because he still needs to essentially waste a turn using concentrate, and then afterwards he could deal damage. And he could see some use, and good thing he does have some pretty good brave damage potencies on his abilities, but he's definitely a unit that I feel like is still more for fun. But with the right setup, I can see him doing some pretty good damage, and at least he can keep himself alive too. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the banner. So this banner features the EX weapon Shiranui, which is going to be debuting for Auron. Do keep in mind that this weapon has yet to repeat if you guys are playing the JP version of the game. So for us global players, this is going to be the only time to get it currently right now, unless they decide to repeat it again. This will be equipping the EX ability Dragon Fang for Auron. This is a 2-hit melee brave plus HP attack that is AoE, and the AoE HP damage is divided evenly. Then more damage is dealt if you use this ability on a single target. It also delays all targets by 1 turn, and it inflicts that melee imperil debuff to all targets for 3 turns, and it also increases Auron's physical attack by a medium amount for 6 turns. And the other weapons that are going to be featured on this are 35 CP for Auron, Vincent, and Cyan, and also their 15 CP weapons. Now, should you pull on this banner? Is this a good banner? I'm actually going to say it outright that I actually kind of feel like this banner is not bad. I mean, you have Vincent there, and if you haven't had a chance to get Vincent's weapons, he is currently a really good debuffer right now, and he has Imperil to his 2 elements. And like I said, Auron himself, I feel like is going to be a very underrated unit, and he's actually pretty good. But the reason why I say he needs his EX is because look at what he can do. Now he can deal AoE HP damage, even though it's divided, and he can also delay all targets by a turn. We have another chance to inflict that melee Imperil, and then he also further increases his damage. And that delay is awesome for more debuff utility, so then that way it gives your other characters a chance to maybe set up or do something else like that. So I feel like this EX weapon is a must for him, especially if you're on Auron main, or if you happen to have missed out on Vincent's weapons. Sadly, CYAN'S is going to be the consolation prize, but as we saw from his awakening, he's still not bad, and he's pretty fun to play. But overall, if you are a free-to-play player, or if you want to hold on to your gems and you decide to pass on this, it's not going to really hurt much. Just know that you're probably going to be missing out on a rarer EX weapon, because like I said, it still has yet to repeat in the JP version of the game, which is essentially the future of where Global is headed towards. But you never know, they might change things around and they might decide to repeat this EX weapon later. So overall, I feel like it's a pretty decent banner. Alright, we're going to take a look at the boss that we fight, which is going to be the Iron Worm. We're pretty familiar with this enemy already because we've seen it multiple times, but just a review. First of all, the LC level 100 for AURON'S Lost Chapters does have 2 Iron Worms that we have to face. They are weak to fire and thunder, they are resistant to ice and dark, and they do both have a chase HP value of 40. Now, I have been seeing questions on a lot of my videos, what is chase HP? What is that? Guys, be sure to check out the links in the video description and also the pinned comments of every video, because I do leave a link of a video that I made in regards to the chase mechanic, and this is what I'm referring to is when you actually launch the enemy. So if you guys want to find out what that's all about, the links are in the video description and they are in the pinned comments. Now, this enemy does open up with something called Gravity Spin. It's kind of annoying. It essentially builds up its brave, and then it does AoE HP damage to your entire party, so want to keep that in mind. It can also increase its defense and also its resistance to magic damage, so you probably don't want to bring a magic damage dealing character for this, and it can also inflict a speed down debuff to a party member. So that's some of the details there. Overall, I don't feel like it's going to be a very difficult boss fight. Everyone should be pretty familiar with it by now. The only thing you really got to watch out for is that annoying AoE HP attack that it does at the beginning, and it does it periodically every so often. Now, some final thoughts and tips before diving into this Lost Chapters is the top artifact passes for Auron you're going to want is Attack plus 108, Max Brave plus 330, and Banishing Blade power up 2-star. For Cyan, you're going to want Attack plus 108, Max Brave plus 330, and Bushido Dragon power up 2-star. And if you build them up, Cyan and Vincent are going to be good. Since they are synergy, they get the stat bonus. And then debuffs for the boss will be your best friend, especially lowering the Iron Worm's defense. And aside from Cyan, if you want to bring another unit that actually has defense ignore, another unit is actually Shadow, who I feel like is another underrated DPS unit. His throw command after you use Wild Throw and either break an enemy or you've used it on a broken target does ignore defense, and it actually deals a fair amount of damage. Or, like I said, you could also just press the win button and go with Kate Sith, Beatrix, and Selfie. I'm guilty of it too. I do bring those three, even though they do push each other's buffs off. The damage is just nuts right now if you have those three all built up. So if you want the auto win button, there you go. But if you want to be a little bit more creative, you could try different party comps. I have seen people use different party comps for some of the harder content currently in Global. And then something that I do want to point out is that Auron has yet to see a rework or a level 70 awakening in the future. So sadly, this character will fall off once we continue to move forward with the global version of the game, but you never know. For those of you that follow JP, it may be just a matter of time before this character finally gets a rework and a level 70 awakening to make him even better. But for now, he has yet to see that. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing now is moving forward with a gameplay showcase, like you guys always know. With my JP account, I'm going to be tackling the Lost Chapters level 100 for the upcoming Auron Lost Chapters for the global version of the game. Let's go ahead and move forward to that. Alrighty guys, so here we are with my JP account. I'm going to be showcasing the level 100 from the Auron Lost Chapters to give you guys a visual showcase of what you guys are going to be expecting to see when the Lost Chapters actually goes live for global. I'm going to be taking Auron. Something about my Auron that I want to point out is I didn't build him up too much. He only has his 15 CP passive, no 35 CP, no EX, and I don't have enough resources to actually get him all the way up to level 60 crystal passive, so I do apologize for that. He's not going to be performing to the best of his ability. Same thing with Cyan, although he's a little bit more built up, but I can say that Vincent did get a rework, and he did get a level 70, and he did get an EX weapon in JP, and I will be at least showing you guys that. So for those of you who are Vincent fans and have already invested some of your gems and tickets into his weapons, you'll at least get to see what he's able to do in the future. Now, I won't be to the full capability because I don't have him all the way to crystal passive level 70, but hey, at least you'll get to see what he can do. And I'm going to be taking a Squall friend because we know the bosses are weak to fire and thunder. We're going to be taking Ifrit as our summon of choice. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so let's just see what Vincent does now with his abilities. So AoE, Brave, damage, and then the single target damage has an overflow for the HP attack. So that's pretty cool. And as you can see, Auron does have 8 uses now in his Banishing Blade, and it's now 4 hits. And we're just going to go ahead and use Concentrate Fang. So that's pretty cool that Vincent got all that. Alright, so with Cyan, let's go with this. So Cyan, because of the high Brave damage potencies on his abilities, he can actually hit his max Brave fairly quickly, especially for this Lost Chapter since he is synergy, and he'll have the increased stats. Let's take a look at Live Wire Shot now with this. So he's a lot more powerful, which is pretty cool that this character gets all of this from his awakening and rework. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're gonna go up against the brothers, which is interesting. They brought these guys again as a mini boss. Let's take out the bigger one first. Actually, let's do damage to the other one too, so they'll both be in killing range. Okay. And they're doing peanut damage because of Vincent's amazing attack debuff. And we have his EX ready, but I want to save that for the actual boss. We have one more wave, and then we finally will get to the 2 Iron Worm bosses. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna go up against the boss. It's gonna be 2 Iron Worms. Squall could actually be a very good support unit for this too, even for the global version of the game, because he does have his AoE splash damage with Renzokuken, so he could be an option for this too. Alright, so let's go ahead and go with Blade. And let's go right off the bat and just use Vincent's EX. Now I know some people that had a chance to see this, that play the JP version of the game, were hoping that he would transform like how he does in Final Fantasy VII, but alas we didn't get that, but he still has that, so that's still pretty cool. And he inflicts a bunch of debuffs essentially, and a unique debuff is what he does. And as you can see right there, we took divided HP damage because that's what these worms are all about. They like to build their brave, and then they do that. So just want to keep that in mind. Cyan, if you decide to use him, can actually mitigate this for himself since he can heal himself. Alright, we're going to use Livewire Shot just to lower the amount of brave damage they do. And let's go ahead and use Purgatory, and we can get that Imperil. And let's go ahead and apply Fire Imperil. And with Cyan, let's just build up his brave. Let's go ahead and do his EX again. Alright, and let's go ahead and just heal Cyan. I know we have his Brave at max, and he has no Oracle, but I just want his HP up. Alright, and let's go ahead and summon. Since they are targeting everybody, they're probably going to do another Gravity Spin. These worms are almost down. There's one, and let's go ahead and take care of the other one. And there we go. Now I know that looked easy, and I know Vincent essentially carried this, even though this is all about Auron, but at least he's synergy for this Lost Chapters. But that is the gameplay visual showcase. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the entire video, and helps prepare you guys for the upcoming Auron Lost Chapters for the global version of Opera Omnia. Once again, this is 40 the Broadway Saiyan. Thank you for watching, stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.